Okay, so this is going to be a fast video on the go. I'm going to do the articles. I'm going to post them below, so you will be able to see the articles I'm referring to. It's quite a few issues, and these are the issues basically concern India this time. I was quiet in respect to India for quite some time. That's when it comes to war in Ukraine. I didn't feel like going after India because I believe that India always was a prominent member of United Nations. I'm actually really in a disbelief that in 2022, however, we are witnessing India completely opposed to what this country once used to present inside of the United Nations. In one of the articles, you're gonna see it's posted about Rishi Sunak. Rishi Sunak is a British national. However, I don't know, was it born in Britain or in India? I do not know. I know that he was involved with his family since 1995, since the beginning of MK Ultra. That I can tell you, because I remember his family. His his whereabouts under MK Ultra in respect to family, political whereabouts, run-ins with the royals and stuff like that. A lot of that. And to my taste, I was pleased to have him elected as a British Prime Minister. Actually, I really didn't have a problem with it. And that's going to be one article you're going to see. He just arrived to Ukraine yesterday and have handed, I'm not going to say that he handed a paycheck to Ukrainian Vladimir Zelensky, but he advertised news how Britain will allocate additional 50 million for the sake of liberation in Ukraine from Russian aggression. Ukraine is the biggest European country, square miles wise. Territorially, this is the biggest European country with about 45 million people. And ladies and gentlemen, with almost 15 million of this, not residents, but citizens, pretty much homeless, ran out of their homes, lost a tremendous portion of the country to a Russian aggression invasion on Ukraine in 2022, after Russia committed crime already in 2014. And it's not only against, this is what bugs me the most, because earlier I mentioned India, seen as a prominent United Nations member. The crime in Ukraine didn't take only against Ukrainian people, but it took against Ukrainian Tatars and other minorities too. Talking about the Russian crime. So I am shocked, I'm a little bit in disbelief. That's one news I'm going to refer to in this video about Mr. Rishi Sunak visiting Ukraine, Zelensky, with a pledge of 50 million pounds in additional military support. Military is different than humanitarian support, medical and that kind of stuff. So the second article I want to comment in this video is on the issue between India and Sri Lanka. This is a very, very sensitive issue right now for India, the one I mentioned. I was very silent about this. I was silent for as long as I could possibly be, but then the day comes when you have a UN member such as India, whose vote count at large, voting basically by abstaining itself from vote, yeah, totally in support of Russia, totally in support of Russian aggression on people of Ukraine. Sucks. When I said a little earlier about 15 million people, this is a third of the population of the Ukraine. Because I don't want Indian people that watch this program, I don't want them to misunderstand me. I want you to be completely on my level in respect to understanding each other about how to feel, what I feel, exactly how I feel about this stuff. I'm just going to say to you, India, for India, this is probably not a lot of people, 15 million. When I say 15 million, in India, probably some of you guys in India, probably right now, you're laughing. Probably you're saying, what is this shit? 15 million, it's nothing. Maybe this is a New Delhi or something, population. It's not a big deal. But for Ukraine, it is. It is more than 30% of the population. And I'm not going to go into what atrocities Russians have done in respect to demolition of the country, financial ruin, damage they have caused. You know, if I translate this to you into Indian language, maybe Hindu, it will sound like this. As much as I would love to learn one, and I hope one day I will, I don't speak one. I have to disappoint you here, but what I'm trying to say to you is 15 million, over 30% of the population, India with 1.3 billion people, close to 1.4 billion people, close to overtaking population of Republic of China. Boy, you know, in that case, you're talking about almost 500 million people. You're talking well over 400 million people. Now, if I tell you today that there is 400 million Indian people in India, 400 million homeless, that half of the country is burned to the ground, that I don't know the percentage wise how much Russians have taken away territorially, if you would go and, you know, but these you got to admit these are disasters. These are definitely a disasters. Something that I think that somebody, I should say just anybody at United Nations, I think definitely should condemn and definitely should not be positive, should definitely not approve of, not be supportive of, and that much more. I have to express total dissatisfaction with this politic that is being exercised against all rules of logic, defeating logic completely, and absolutely the rule of law at United Nations, the purpose of United Nations, and so on, which was established so the atrocities of the World War II would not repeat. In this case, India, I have to tell you guys, favored a form of fascism, Nazism, rather than awarded United Nations with the rule of law in this case. So, for me to refer to the next article I'm going to talk about, I already mentioned you about the abstaining itself from demanding Russia to repay for financial damages to Ukraine for whatever Ukraine sustained due to Russian aggression. That's what India did together with China. So these are all the links you're going to see below. Very, very bad stuff. And this stuff just keeps going. It just keeps going because India is open to new contracts, mineral, oil, new business with Russia. Is more ambitious, became more vicious, not ambitious, in respect to war in Ukraine. It appears to me sees rather the opportunity to earn through the blood and suffering of people in Ukraine. And that's really, really, really something that you're going to see in the article below. That's something really, really not talking in favor of India. That's another article I'm referring to that I'm going to spoke about. Maybe the worst news, if that ain't bad enough, India handshaked with Russians in respect to fighting terrorist groups, expanding a mutual partnership in field of counter-terrorism operations. Okay, so I think that I touched absolutely therefore security. All the issues that are important for me to discuss from this point on. The only thing I don't know whether I should say this to you now or I should say this during my rant comment. I'm going to say that Russia is a terrorist state. The entire world is completely aware of that issue, that Russia is a terrorist state, is a state of the terrorism. How the hell do you relate to the country like this in an issue so sensitive as anti-terrorism, counter-terrorism? I do not understand. Maybe you don't read the media or something like this. And I'm talking about the Indian people. Absolutely not. I'm talking about the political top in India. Maybe you guys are not aware that Vladimir Putin has been named as a terrorist by the various credible institutions as well as government, some European, in United States. I don't know if you're aware that he is proclaimed as a terrorist and that Russia is a terrorist state. I don't know how much you're aware of it. Maybe it's time to open the browser in respect to this issue. I'm not going to publish that one because there's too many articles about this. Come on. And update yourself on that issue before you decide to... I'm going to put you straight in front of the facts. In front of you, before you decide to continue to support issues which created war, basically Second World War. Now I'm talking about the Nazi Germany, I'm talking about fascist Italy, I'm talking about countries that are acknowledged as the axis of evil. You understand what I'm saying? Because your politic as such is actually have produced another article I'm going to post right below, a feedback, it resonated to others willing to also earn money. I don't know how much dirty it is to earn the money through the war, but you condemned certain people, certain families on how they earned war, how they earned money through the war. Well, I'm no longer condemning anybody because of what I see. You are some kind of leader in the field of the countries, developing world countries. Fuck, you're not. You're far away from it. You have nothing to do with it. You are a predator. You are a predator, you are a voracious predator that is completely indifferent from any evil historically looking that was trying to cash on someone else's suffering, which in the worst case was the war. And so now you have countries like Pakistan, which already did earn money through trade with Russia during the war, Russian war in Ukraine. And you know, it is about the ethnic cleansing, it is about the genocide, it is about killing civilian people, murdering people, cleansing people, imprisoning people. It's about the cleansing more than anything. You know all about that stuff. By now, you should. And so, that's like a major ally from the US, from the West, in the region, your neighbor. Surprisingly, Khan have spread his enthusiasm for the will of the Indian state, government, nation to run their own policy, to run their own politic in respect to the global situation. So it's like we are a Western ally, and he did the right thing, if you ask me. I'm not condemning Khan, a Pakistani president. I'm not condemning one for this. I think he did the right thing. He did exactly the right thing. Because what he did was, he warned about what the fuck you guys are doing in India. He warned about others that simply do not comply with their status in respect to United Nations membership. What the fuck are you doing inside of the United Nations if you want to run the politic which have created the Second World War? He did the right thing. So he expressed interest in, he said, we lost money. We're losing money, abstaining ourselves from trade with Russia, oil purchase, oil trade, and so on. Correct. The next one who expressed the same thing was a Turkish government. And they too are right, I'm not going against them. This is stupid. If you're in it to promote such values, don't be surprised if you're going to see the World War II repeat again. Don't be surprised when you're going to see, because you guys are in the region with Pakistan. When you guys start to regionalize yourself and you start to take a regional issue, you place in the regional issue before the human suffering somewhere. You're supporting the war, the genocide, the ethnic cleansing. Don't be surprised when you start to see European Union joining into a military force, interested in engaging also in other continents, not only defending the European continent. You don't understand the implications of this shit. And second thing I'm going to tell you, to Rishi Sunak. Rishi Sunak is fairly, we can say, looks Indian. I know what you're going to say in India. You're going to say, well, she's a British national, la 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 la, right? That's what you're going to say. And the British, so for me to say, they told me, and I want to be very specific about the British when I say British. Talking again about the royals here, talking about again people from Buckingham Palace. They told me don't even involve India in it. And that concerns you in India a lot, because you thought, I'm going to be quiet. You did the shit inside of my room, all this stuff. I'm not going to be quiet about this stuff. Don't even involve, because all the trade you guys have, British royals trade with India more than anybody does from Britain or Canada. That's another dangerous issue, very dangerous, because this kind of attitude, it's contagious. Just as I mentioned earlier, Pakistan, people can take that crazy idea all too fast from Britain to Canada. And I fear, honestly, from Canada, it can spread insanity also to the US, which is a firm ally of Ukraine. No, United States of America is not a firm ally of Ukraine. United States of America warned you, Indian government. You remember how many times you had me in India. You remember when American government was trying to convince you, ask you, beg you, not for fuck not to. And you did it anyways. United States of America, West, Europe, European Union, Britain, gone ahead and they paid you money, they paid you cash, they issued you checks for you to be at least silent in respect to a Russian invasion on Ukraine. They have purchased your silence, they gave you the money, literally they gave you cash. They built your planes, you got the airplanes, you got those fighter jets Joe Biden gave you. I was there with inside of your factories, with your design engineers of the plane, whom Americans have literally taken to the United States of America and have designed all that stuff for them. Now I'm talking. So you better listen what I have to say. Your silence was very, very expensive, as you see. It came with an astronomical price. And it didn't come only as a tremendous cost to people of Ukraine, it came as a cost to entire Europe, entire European continent. As a matter of fact, it came with a tremendous cost to the globe, to the world. There is a hunger issues involved on other continents. You got that wrong too. But okay, in return for all the goodies you received, market, where you sell your products, money, investments. I have witnessed since 1995. You got support in respect to Sri Lanka. You got support from me personally. I was silent about what went on in 1995. The beatings from your people from India didn't start here in this house only, before you even took me to India. Once you brought me to India, you started to insist to me that I will stay hijacked, abducted for the rest of my life in India. That was in 1995. This is how hijacking, abductions under MK Ultra started in 1995. And I must say to you, you're as close as to terrorism as you possibly can be as a government, as a state, as a nation. You related yourself as per security issues to Russia, counter-terrorism operations. That's bad. It's actually your word against tapes. But remember that before you start doubting me about what I say. For everything you have received, or you returned back with well, there was a moral support to Ukraine, as Ukraine being the one as victim. You did that. I have to be fair. You have reporters that engage in promoting view from the perspective of also Ukrainian people. I'm going to say to you, West pay you very well for that matter. It's just that it's not enough. is just not enough. For what you have received and for what you think, for what you deem, you will continue to cause with your politic. It's important for the world to acknowledge that you yourself appear to have some sort of, that you are suffering from some sort of racial, ethnical, and also all kinds of other issues, more than what I did, for whom you claimed that I was the one, that I was a Nazi and I don't know what, something that you needed. Always next to negotiation table, after you created, based on a hatred, abuse, beatings, terror, death threats, all kinds of threats, so that you could get better deals, so that you could get for less, more for less, so that you could look good, you know, in front of the international society. But let me tell you something, you didn't fool people. Tapes. There are tapes. It's already recorded. You didn't fool me. I remember what happened, what went on. You know, I'm not going to name the people inside the Indian government. I'm not going to be doing that kind of stuff. I'm not going to go that. That's a collective conscience. It's a collective thing. But you got a problem. This problem is grown into a regional issue. This regional issue is pushing through economy, issues into security concerns, concerning not only countries in the region of Ukraine, but entire European continent. And I'm afraid the whole thing is going to develop into something, as I stated earlier. United Nations was established upon, United Nations was fought for. You're having a very serious problem. Regretful for me to say so. I told you, I don't even consider myself white, but based on the way you basically condemned me, knowing that it was lies, you lied, plain and simple, you lied about me. Just think about it. Countries like you lied, you lied. You created myth out of the person that doesn't even consider himself as white, person who was willing to intermarry with, interracially with females. And you're creating out of this fucking myth, out of your lies, the World War III. So if the World War III happens, because it doesn't concern only India. You know, I mentioned Israel for a good reason a few days ago. At least you're going to understand why it happened. That's why this video. I find your conduct in the United Nations, I find your view on suffering in Ukraine and people of Ukraine, I find this completely butcherous, insensitive, dividing, divisive, treacherous, murderous as it gets, profiteering overtly on at expense of some people or other that always were victimized, that always were victims of the Soviet regime. So that's all I want to say in respect to this video. I was going to go and comment maybe every article beginning with, I don't know, Rishi Sunak. It's why I also titled for a handful of rice and dollars. Now, and dollars, that's the money that you receive. And you refuse to give the support to something you know very good You should. Because it's the West, because it's Britain, because it's United States, because it's Germany, it's other countries that are standing up for it against this Russian fascism, which India, you helped to create. You helped create this stuff with what I stated to Vladimir Putin. Let's face it, you needed this since 1995. But it's time to stop. It's time to consider what I stated to you, because your actions make no fucking sense anymore to the people that you did make them sense. Your actions no longer make sense to the people that jump out of the boats in Normandy. Your actions no longer make sense to the people that parachuted into Germany, that dropped bombs all over the Germany. Your actions make no fucking sense to the people who dropped tanks to Russians, weaponry during the World War II, so they could fight, they could survive. Your action made no fucking sense to United Nations resolution. It's embarrassing. It's counterproductive for you yourself, because you're no longer considered as a part of something, as a part of the free world, and with some kind of ways that you are convincing yourself into something that is a fucking myth, that is a lie, that you know it's a lie, Mr. Modi, Mr. Narendra Modi, I'm talking to you specifically here. You're creating a schizophrenic picture to the people that is drawing everybody to the dead end. And dead ends did happen in the past. I'm afraid because of you, because of your politic, they're going to happen again. Unadversely, it's going to be too late when it happens. Russia is a terrorist state. Vladimir Putin is a terrorist. Rishi Sunak, I don't know if he's also Indian national. I think he should be. I haven't seen in Rishi Sunak any bad. I haven't seen, in respect to Indian people in Britain, I haven't observed anything bad with these people. The thing is that, you're gonna say, but this is British national. Yes, fuck yeah. That's especially why you should be concerned. That is exactly why you should be concerned. You know, when I said for the handful of rice, I said in a title, for a handful of rice and dollars. And that's that other part, rice. You come, after you abstain yourself from vote against Russia, to reinstitute damages, to pay for damages, one cost to Ukraine. You come out with the fucking news that you're gonna make, that you're gonna expand more contracts, more business concerning even counter-terrorism issues, that you're gonna expand with Russia rather than to condemn one for the terrorism. And then you appear with a guy, it's not that you appeared, you know, that's the thing. You should be concerned about these things. Colonialism doesn't have to be, it does not have to come only from countries that had colonial past. Your present ambitions, from what I can tell, also in respect to Sri Lanka, are not pure-hearted. You're having issues, you have a lot of dilemmas, you have a lot of reasons why actually you wouldn't even mind for something like this to take place. It's bad. 50 million pounds in military support. Excuse me, but that is a shit. That is nothing. Britain stepped out of the European Union for a good reason. Britain did give substantial amount of support to Ukraine, but I'm afraid Ukraine have received way too little and way even too late, so that we could say about a real ally, so we could say about a real support and so on. There are the issues you should know, India. The world will pay attention to. The world is not stupid. The world is watching you about your steps. At this point in time, you're no leader of any kind, not at the United Nations, not when it pertains to countries in development. This is just a sad, more like pathetic story I simply am not used to from the countries such as India. It's a shame. It's a disgrace. So there could be that, yeah, and I cannot turn this camera around. It could be that you somehow, let me see that. Okay. It could be, I'm gonna click this button here. I am gonna go ahead, I'm gonna publish this thing here so that you can see exactly which articles I'm referring to. And we're gonna do it like this. And we're gonna publish this thing here. We're gonna do it like this. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna do it here. Yes, I was told that, I hope that you see it. I was told, you know, I was warned by the British that it is in fact nothing they will be able to do, you know, and by the Indians, and nothing you'll be able to do if you jump on India because you work together. Let me correct this stuff, okay? It's a British and it's a British. Also, well, I'm not saying, it's not gonna hurt me saying that British royals are not British. You're not gonna see me saying stuff like this. You're not gonna hear me. You're not gonna see me saying stuff like this. You see, you're not gonna see creating some kind of problems in Sri Lanka and then playing a good guy and this and that. You're not gonna hear me saying anything against the British royals, as I already told you on the news side. They are not my problem. I'm not British. They are a British problem. I deem British are part of the Europe. I think they should dearly care about the security of Europeans because it concerns them, just as Europeans should care about British. And is something also I am totally certain the case is. I don't doubt a British attitude. I like British people very much. But then again, it's British and there is British. What British Cameron would do, as you see him fighting over there in the ditches in the Ukraine, might be a different issue applying, let's say, to somebody who is doing a trade. That's as far as the aid India have given so far to Ukraine. Now, 230 tons of humanitarian aid, medications and that kind of stuff. Okay, and $8 million medicines and so on. I'm just gonna put it this way. We're gonna put this. We're gonna put this on a standby like this, and then we're gonna publish this video. I'm just gonna say what I was trying to say to you is that it really portrays India in a most negative light when you see something like this. It really portrays India next to the aid the United States of America is providing. And it's something I didn't finish earlier when I said the United States of America was concerned about the peace. The United States of America didn't go and ask you to promote hatred, to promote Nazism or something like this, when they were asking you if, in case Russia, for so many years they were going to India and asking you, begging you to condemn Russia in case of attack on people of Ukraine, especially after 2014. if the attack would repeat itself again and so on. And you instead, you seize that as opportunity to cash. Now, if you're going to do this kind of stuff like this, you know what I mean? If you're going to be doing this kind of stuff, then don't be surprised if the world is going to go into inadvertently direction which one day soon you might be the one ending up regretting as a nation. Because these are the kind of things that give birth to this regionalism and then this hatred expands, and then you have a real problem. And then people are on the lookout to find the evil and this and that, and the evil got loose, and so on and so forth, in the name of the better world, and la 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 la. My dear India, you are actually a starter in this case, and that's a bad thing. You are one of the starters. Vladimir Putin had a strong faith for comeback, and that faith for comeback in respect to border on a Dnieper, which Russia have charted, drawn through the genocide in Kherson, was to be made straight through United Nations. Is with you, apparently, here anybody can see, disrupting the world order, creating a regionalism, become a major problematic in a sense of the war against the people, in a sense of the Russian war against people of Ukraine. I'm asking you to get yourself together and stop spreading this hatred, stop spreading this fascism. I already did warn your good friend Israel, and today I'm also warning you, with a reason. So that's all I want to say. Thanks for watching this video. Till next time.